Okay, so it's 3 now. So let's start the webinar. So once again, welcome everybody to our Malaysia Payroll Workshop. Before I begin, I'd like to go through a few housekeeping notes. So this webinar will be recorded, and then we'll be sending the recording to all registrant status by next week. If you have any questions for our panel of speakers, please type in the Q&A box, and then we will be sure to type in our answers, or we can answer at the end of the session. We will leave like about 5 minutes for Q&A. And also, if you would like to receive the slide, please assist us by completing the feedback form at the end of the webinar, and we will be sure to send you the slides to you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first two speakers, my colleagues Raymond Lock, Senior Product Manager, and Patricia Balakrishnan, Product Manager, to give us a run through on how Malaysia Payroll works with Just Log In Solutions. So first and foremost, Patricia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ivan. Good afternoon, everybody. So hope all of you are keeping well despite the MCO and lockdown season in Malaysia. So today, what we are planning to do is we're going to share a little bit on Malaysia Payroll. So which means that all the statutory, the regulations, and also some of the items that you have to keep track of, and some of the statutory contribution deductions that you have to be aware while you're doing your monthly payroll. And later on, I'll pass over to my colleague Raymond. So just a very quick introduction. So Just Log In is actually a payroll software company or a HR management system. So we have been awarded as the #1 award-winning HR software, best HRMS software in the country. So next. So at the moment, we have about 2,000 clients in 25 different countries with 20 years of experience. So talking about 20 years of experience, so our system actually can range from 1 to 1,000 users. Okay, so you can onboard a number of users into the system. So because we have been around for about 20 years, the system can actually configurable. You can configure the system to work on how you want it to work, and the system is being updated from time to time. So which means that we kind of follow the trend. So what the government are changing, so the regulation changes, the updates. Okay, so we are following everything to the dot to make sure that you have a very compliant system and an easy to use system to use. Okay, next. Okay, so as you can see, these are some of our clients across all the industries. So as I mentioned earlier, since we have been around for about 20 years within this market, so our system can actually cater for all the industries from retail, you're talking about F&B, you're talking about manufacturing, construction, all right? So these are some of the names that you might came across while you are out there in the market. So these are the clients that we are servicing at the moment. Okay, so when you talk about payroll, right, payroll is not just a standalone thing. So there's a lot of other factors or a lot of other items that you have to be included within the payroll monthly calculation. So with Just Log In, we are actually an entire HR suite. So we actually cover from the range of payroll. As you can see, there's a payroll calculation and contribution. And we also cover the Just Leave portion, so which is all the employees' leave management will be covered under this particular model, whereby employees can apply for leave, they can check their leave balances, and then they can also check out who are the other colleagues on leave, and all the approvals can be done. And after that, we also have our Just Expense module, which will be the expense claim management module, whereby all the expense can be done. The receipts can be, you can take a photo of the receipt, you can keep a record, and at the same time, you can move over to the payroll portion to pay out the claims to your employees. And then we have our Just People, which will be the employee cloud management system, so that you can keep all the necessary information of your employees. So you don't have to keep a cupboard full of files, for example. Okay, so everything can be kept within the system itself, all the records and necessary documents. And we also have our just clock, which will be the employees' time and attendance. So at this stage, all of us or most of us are working from home, and some of the companies are actually going on a scheduled basis. So you go back to office twice or three times a week. So sometimes HR can't be there all the time to make sure everybody is working or everybody is actually going to the office. So by having an employee time attendance on cloud, you can actually make sure that everybody is in the office when they're supposed to. And if any overtime is being done, you can push it over to the payroll. Okay. Okay, so before I talk a little bit about a system, let me just share with you what is manual payroll is all about. So, of course, a lot of times when we talk about manual payroll, people will be talking about Excel, and then it's free, it's cheap. Okay, but there is also the con of using or doing your payroll manually. So the first one will be prone to errors. Okay, so because it's done on a daily basis or weekly basis, okay, because we know that some clients before they come on board, they were doing their payroll manually, which means that sometimes they have to key in their data manually on a week-to-week basis just to make sure they don't have a whole pile of work towards the end of the month, and this actually leads to errors. Okay, and at the same time it will be very time consuming. If you have like one employee, maybe you might not find that kind of constraint. You think that, okay, I'm just doing for one user, so it's not that bad. But then when you have 10 employees, 20 employees, or even about 50 employees, okay, so then you will notice that you are spending a lot of time in doing the manual payroll, and it leads to inefficient. So instead of doing the other aspect of HR, okay, HR is not about payroll alone, right? So instead of doing the other HR aspect of HR, you end up doing payroll all the time. Okay, and the last one that we have also noticed is that difficult to keep updated on the compliance. So especially recently for the past 2-3 years, we noticed that the compliance changes quite frequently, and even recently there's announcement on HRDF changes and so on. So people find it a bit hard to keep updated with compliance, or they tend to get wrong information online, okay, or they find it hard to actually understand what the government is actually telling them to do. So then these are some of the cons that we have noticed when companies are doing their payroll manually. All right, next slide. Okay, so when we talk about compliance, what is compliance is all about? So it's all the requirements, the laws, the regulations, whatever that the government has set, right? So there's a guideline that we have to follow. Okay, and what happens when we don't follow those guidelines? Okay, next. Okay, so the first one, very famous one, is our PCB deduction on a month-to-month basis. So in some other countries, the tax is done on a yearly basis. Okay, it's calculated once and they just have to pay it towards the end of the year. And we actually rank number 2, number 3 in the world for one of the most difficult tax calculation in the world. All right, so for Malaysia, it's done on a monthly basis. So what will happen every month when you reach a certain threshold for the employee, when they reach a certain threshold, you need to start deducting PCB. So when that's not done, so the fine can go up to 20,000 per offense. Okay, so it range from 2,200 ringgit up to 20,000 ringgit. So it depends. It really depends the offense. It's based on the offense, because some companies, they might have not contributed tax for about don't know how many years. There are also companies that actually deducted the tax, but they didn't pay the tax to the LHDN department. So it really depends. All right, so the fine can actually increase from about 200 ringgit per user up to how much they are actually telling you to pay. But the minimum that we have known of has always been 200 ringgit. Okay, so what happens if you have one employee? Okay, 1 month is 200 ringgit, but if you have 5 employees, if you have 10 employees, then maybe you might have to pay for 2,000 ringgit a month, 3,000 ringgit a month, and times it by 12. You know, so you end up paying about 10, 20,000 ringgit a year. Okay, so that is why PCB calculation is very important. You need to know what needs to deduct PCB, and when the employee reaches the threshold of you have to deduct the PCB, the percentage will change. So you need to keep yourself updated and you need to do it accordingly. Okay, so the next slide. Okay, the next one will be per queso. All right, so per queso also the same. It can change from 400 to 4,000 ringgit per offense. So per queso have found out that a lot of company actually fail to register their workers. Okay, which means that when the employee joined, they didn't submit the proposal form to Procaso saying that, okay, I have a new employee, so they failed to register their workers. Okay, and recently we also found out that due to the COVID, a lot of employees might want to go and claim their EIS scheme fund, right? And a lot of companies actually have never contributed EIS for the past 2 or 3 years. Okay, so this is where the company actually have to face the consequences, and they have to pay about 10,000 ringgit, maybe jail time, not so much. It's more of the fine that we are talking about here. All right. Okay, the next one. Okay, then error leads to fine. The third one will be the penalty for non-labor law compliance. So when we talk about non-labor law compliance, like it can be anything. Okay, it's very vast. Okay, so it can be from you not paying the minimum wages to the employees, up to not contributing overtime when they do overtime, not forcing them to take no pay leave during COVID situation when it's not agreed by the employee. You know, so it can be very worse. Okay, so it has to be done by the book, by very proper, and follow the labor law. Okay, so if you look at the example that I've talked about, next slide. Okay, so minimum wages to be raised in 57 Malaysian major town. Okay, so from last year, 1st January, every major town, okay, about almost all of it, okay, major town under 57 cities, they have to contribute to a minimum wages of 1,100 ringgit, which a lot of companies are still not following. Okay, so how they are tracking all this? Okay, next one. So you'll notice that all this Sumber Manusia, Kementerian, okay, even KWSP, SOXO, okay, all of them are quite advanced, or we will say they are very into technologies nowadays. So what they do is they go out there, they post it on social medias. They want the workers to file a complaint on the employers if they violated labor law. So they want the workers to know their right. So that's why it's very important for the employers to know what is the right thing to do and do it accordingly. Because whenever the employee file any complaint, they take it very seriously and they will investigate. And this might lead them to investigate maybe 3 years down the road documents. They want to see 4 years down the road document. And if you are not having all those documents, then you might have trouble to actually explaining to them or even proving to them that you are doing the right thing. You know, so that's why it's very important. All right, next slide. Okay, so statutory rate for employer share of the contribution has been reduced. So if you're not following yet, so you actually can do the submission. Next slide. Okay, so you can see they have reduced it from 11% to 9%. So it's voluntarily, right? So if employees still want to contribute to 11%, it's doable. Okay, so all you have to do is, next slide. So all you have to do is just submit the KWSP HAS 2021 form, okay, and then you email it to them, be2020epf.gov.my, and you can continue to maintain the 11%. But if the employee don't want, then you have to reduce it to 9%. But on the employer side, there's no changes. So employers still have to pay what they have been paying all along. Okay, and next slide. Okay, so this one is something that we noticed that it has been there for quite a while, okay, whereby IRB only accept online submission for monthly tax deduction. Okay, so you have to use either ePCB, eData PCB, or eCP39 for you to do the submission. But we noticed that a lot of companies are still not doing this because they are not aware how to do it, or they just don't know about these changes. And what they do is they just pay the tax towards the end of the year, even though they have deducted the monthly tax deduction. So this actually leads to a huge fine for the employer. Okay. All right. So while you're doing your monthly payroll, what you need to take note of. So we have all these exemption payments, right? So very often what company do is they either don't give any exemption, which means they deduct everything, or they don't deduct at all. So it's offense. Both is an offense. Okay. So you need to know that what you have to give them exemption and what you have to start deducting the EPF, SOXO, EIS. Okay, so as you can see on your screen now, for EPF, any sort of traveling allowance or expenses, you need to give them an exemption. Okay, but they have a trick here. Okay, you have to state it as an official duty. Okay, if you don't state it as an official duty, it can be a pay and claim, or it can be for personal usage. Okay, so in the form EA, it has to be tagged under the official duty part. Okay, so if you are giving the traveling allowance for employees, okay, so you tag it under official duty, then they get an exemption for the EPF part. okay, any sort of service charges over time, okay. We notice that a lot of companies are contributing to EPF when they are contributing overtime. Okay, so actually, no, you don't have to contribute to EPF if there's an overtime calculation or overtime amount that you're giving to your employees. And then any sort of termination or benefit that your retirement or termination benefit that you're giving your employees, and then a director fee, benefit in kind, or any other non-monetary perquisite that you're giving them. Okay, so when we talk about director fee here, okay, so as you know, like some of you might not, okay, director fee and director salary is two different things. All right. So if you're giving a fee to your director, then you get all this exemption. Okay, but if your director is taking a salary on a month-to-month basis, okay, then it doesn't work for them. You have to start contributing EPF, SOCLO, everything just as usual for the director, just like he's another employee of the company. Okay, so the word also play a big role, fee and also salary. All right. Okay, so then we'll go move on to the next slide. Okay, SOCLO exam payment. So same thing, any sort of traveling allowance, as long as they are for official duty, you get an exemption for a SOCSO. And then bonus, doesn't matter, is paid on an annually or quarterly basis. And any expense that incurred in the course of the employee duties, and if the employer decided to contribute to pension or provident fund, gratitude on dischargement or retirement, and also again, any sort of BIK benefit in kind or and non-monetary perquisite. So these are the items that you don't have to contribute to SOCSO, but we don't have a slide for EIS, okay, because it's very straightforward. If you're contributing to SOCSO, or if you are getting exemption from SOCSO, okay, then you get an exemption from EIS because you're paying to the same statutory body. It's just two different payment. Okay, so all you have to make sure that you know your SOCSO part. Okay, SOCSO, you get exemption, for example, for bonus. Okay, then automatically you get an exemption for EIS. Okay, so it's interlinked. All right. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we have actually break it down for you, some of the very common payroll item that you'll come across when you're running your month-to-month payroll. Okay, the first one, any sort of traveling or petrol allowance, okay, as long as it's for official duty, you get an exemption for PCB up to 6,000 ringgit, which means that their salary, their PCB, the moment it reach the threshold of 6,000, then you must start calculating their PCB for them. Okay, and then there will be an EPF, EIS, and so you don't have to contribute for it. So if their traveling allowance have reached above 6,000, you need to know that when it reach, okay, and when they reach, how many months remaining for the year, and how much you have to deduct. So there's a certain percentage that you have to follow. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, but if you don't have the official duty there, then you have to contribute to all the statutory body, including PCB, even from the beginning. Okay, then we have meal allowance. Meal allowance, make sure that there's no PCB deduction, and then we have overtime, bonus, director fee. So the last two, incentive and commission, you have to contribute to everything, okay, from PCB up to SOCSO. Okay, but very common practice in Malaysia, we don't deduct PCB, or some companies, they don't even deduct EPF, EIS. So they just want the employees to take the whole commission, the whole amount of commission or incentive back home. But that is actually wrong. So if just say that LHDN or any other statutory department came in for audit, then the company actually responsible, because this is the company's responsibility. So we know that sometimes employees will go to the HR and tell them, oh, please, I don't want to deduct, I want the whole amount, and then we might give them a leeway, right? Or some employees might even say that I will do the declaration at the end of the year, which a lot of times doesn't happen. So to protect the company and to protect the HR, you have to make sure that you do the right thing and start deducting everything. Okay. All right, so next one. So we just want to share with you some of the solution out there, right? And what you should know when you're looking at all the solution. Okay. Okay, the first one. So we notice that whenever companies are looking at the solution out there, they go for three different things. They look at the accessibility, they look at the affordability for sure, and the kind of support that they will get towards the end of the day. And we are breaking down into four different solutions out there. The first one will be Excel. As I mentioned way earlier, Excel is something that's cheap, okay, because you don't have to pay anything, and then you, as long as you have Microsoft Office, it's free. You get an offline access, okay, you have your laptop, you have your desktop, you get an offline access. If you want the Excel sheet to be shared across all the HR or the admins that you have, then you need to have an online access. All right, so that is for Excel. And support wise, it's always the Google is your support. Okay, so but bear in mind, Google will have a lot of non how we say, it's not accurate information. Okay, so that's one thing that you have to always keep in mind when you're looking at Excel. Okay, and then the second one will be a desktop software, which will be a one computer offline access, which means that you can install that particular software into your laptop or desktop. Okay, and then usually when it comes to, you break it down under affordability, it will be a very high one-off payment. It's usually a few thousand ringgit, like 10,000, 15,000 ringgit based on our research, or based on what our clients have shared with us. And it comes with a yearly maintenance. So every year, as I have shared with you earlier, the statutory regulation changes. So whenever that happens, you have to update your system. If not, you will have a wrong calculation. So that's why they have this yearly maintenance that you have to pay. And then when it comes to support, low to no support. Some desktop software give good support, but then from what we have experienced, what our client have experienced is very low to no support, because they already get the one-off payment, right? So after that is more of whether they want to support you, or they have the bandwidth to support you or not. Okay, so then it's low to no support. And the third one will be a cloud software. So during the COVID period, we are seeing people start adapting to cloud software. Okay, people who have been using Excel or desktop software, they have switched over to cloud software, because everybody is working from home. You need the accessibility, which means that any computer with internet access. If not, for payroll, you have to go back to office, you have to get police permission. At that time, remember, first MCO, if you want to go back to office to do your payroll, you need to get police letter, and then you have to travel to office, and then you have to come back, and it's not safe. Okay, so that's why there's a boom in cloud software. So everybody go for cloud software, because they can actually access it anywhere with any computer, as long as they have internet access. So payroll can be done from home. You don't have to do it from the office alone. Okay, and then affordability, monthly subscription, it varies according to headcount. So we also notice that some kind of companies, they have dropped their headcount, but there are industry that has blossom during this particular COVID situation, and they are doing pretty good, because they fall under maybe the essential category, while the others, maybe they have to reduce their headcount, or they have to kind of hold on to their staff and rehire them when things get better. Okay, so when it comes to affordability, you can go by monthly subscription. So you pay based on the headcount that you have. So this actually kind of help you to do the right thing. At the same time, you don't overspend on things that you're not supposed to, like just paying off a huge lump sum money when you might not be utilizing the system. Okay, and then support, it depends on software provider, but for most of the cloud software out there, we have noticed that you get a very strong after sales support, because it runs on a monthly subscription. Okay, so they want to keep you guys happy, so the after sale will be very good. Okay, and the last one will be payroll outsourcing, which means that you take your entire HR or finance department and you outsource it to a third party. Accessibility wise, no access needed, because if you need anything, you just contact your partner, or you contact your business partner, and they'll give you all the necessary information. And affordability wise, it varies according to headcount. So even in Malaysia, it varies according to the state. So for KL, the market rate is about 70 to 90 ringgit per user per month, which means that one employee per month. So that's the amount that they are charging. And then if you go to a bit more other states, like maybe Kelantan, Kuantan, Terengganu, even Penang, it varies from 90 to 120 ringgit per employee per month. Okay, so it actually really depends on the state and depends on your relationship with the payroll outsourcer. Okay, and support, yes, definitely they'll give you a very good after sales support, because they want to keep you for a long-term period. Okay, next. Okay, so and how can we digitalize our business processes? Okay, so let me share a bit on Just Login. Okay, how Just Login is a cost-efficient HR payroll software, and how Just Login can actually help you to digitalize the entire thing. Okay, first one, HR in your pocket. So as I showed you earlier, we have all the modules, right? So all the modules actually comes in mobile phone also. Okay, so employees can actually download a mobile application, and they can have everything. For example, they can access their payroll. Okay, they can download, they can access their payslip, they can download their payslip anytime that they want, and then they can apply for leave just from the mobile application, just like you're seeing on the screen. And when they apply for their leave, even the person that have to approve the leave there, it can be manager, it can be you yourself, the HR, the bosses, okay, you can actually apply and reject the leave from the mobile application itself also, you see. So that's why we say that it's HR in your pocket. And then they can clock in and out of work using facial recognition technology and also GPS location. Okay, so you can make sure that everybody is in the office where they're supposed to, or everybody is actually at home, you know, they don't just go out there, run around, you know, contract the virus, you know, we won't know. Okay, so you can actually make sure that they are where they are supposed to be. And also we noticed that we received some news, we saw some news out there, people rentas daerah, rentas negeri, with all sorts of reasons, right? So in this way, you can also make sure that your employee is actually where they are supposed to be, and they are not in a different state for no valid reason. And then you can actually do your expense claims. Employees can take a photo of their receipt, they can submit for their expenses. Once upon approval, then you can pay out using the monthly payroll. All right. Okay, next slide. So we actually pride ourselves as all-in-one HRMS. So very powerful automation. So because we have been around for the past 20 years, the system can actually, the system is very powerful and it works the way that the way that we want. Okay, because we tailor everything to your needs. So any sort of changes, anything that you want the system to do, configuration. Okay, so we have a long list of configuration that you can configure the system to work based on how you want it to work. Okay, because company A and company B configuration might never be the same. Okay, so we have actually tailored so that it can fit company A and also company B's needs. So it doesn't just work one way, and it's very feature rich. Okay, so every time there's a new request or there's a new suggestion, so we have something called a suggestion board. Okay, you can go in and put in your ideas. So we will discuss and we will start developing this particular features or suggestion that frequently requested by our clients. So every few months once, or even every month or every 2 months, you will see that there's a new thing that's popping out. We will send out newsletters to inform you that we have this particular feature and you can start looking into it. And then automatically compliant. So on a year-to-year basis, or even on a 6 months once basis, quarterly basis, okay, whenever the government announce a new changes, just say that they say, okay, from January onwards, EPF have to go back to 11%, no more 9%. So when you run your January payroll, you will notice that it's already updated to 11%. Okay, so you don't have to do anything manually. Everything is automatically compliant and automatically updated for you. Okay, all right, next slide. Okay, so let me share that some of the things that we have. Okay, the first one will be the form and files that we have. Okay, so you can actually look at the screenshot that you see. You can generate all the necessary files, necessary forms, for example, SOXO, EIS, EPF, okay, even PCB. Okay, we will give you all the necessary text files, and then you can just generate everything accordingly, and you can just upload it to the system. Okay. And then next slide, for the forms, we have all the forms such as Form EA, Form E, and even the text file for the Form E. And then you can just upload it accordingly and give it to your employee for the Form E next year. And they can just proceed with their tax submission. And you can submit your Form E during next year also. Okay. And we are integrated with all these banks. So integration with banks, it's ongoing process. So every time we have a client say, okay, I'm using a bank that's not in your list, just give us the necessary documents and connect us to the right people, and we will actually do the file. We will start developing the bank file for you, and it will be available in the system when you want to use it. Okay, so these are the current banks that we have, but it's an ongoing process, as I mentioned. Okay, so integration partner. So we know that payroll or HR generally is a very vast area, right? So we also agree that we can't do it all. Okay, so that's why we have our own integration partners. So the ones that you are seeing on the screen, we have from accounting, payment, performance management, and recruitment. So that when you actually log in to just log in, you are not just doing payroll or whatever that I've shared with you just now, time and attendance, leave. It's not just that, okay? You can also push your data over to your accounting system. Okay, if you're using any of this accounting system, then you can push the data directly and you can reduce all the double or triple data entry processes. And then we are also integrated with payment portals or payment portals such as Reap, Kada, Matchmove. Okay, so if you're using any of these payment portals, then it will also be integrated directly for you. And the last two will be performance management and also recruitment, which actually another key of HR job scope, right? So you also have to take care of the performance management, make sure all your employees are performing and they're happy in the company and they stay long with you, right? And then you also will have recruitment. As your company business grow, you will start having new joiners. You want to make sure that you get the right person that fit into your organization. So you can actually go through all these processes within just login itself, and you don't have to do anything manually anymore. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's about it from my sharing. If you have any question, just put it up in the Q&A session. I will respond to you guys. And now I'll pass on to my colleague Raymond, who will take on the feature sharing. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, practitioners, for the sharings. And now I will be sharing, I will do some feature sharings on our Malaysia localizations and also the custom report. So before sharing, I hope everyone is doing well during this pandemic. Okay. So for the first one, Malaysian localizations, I will be touching a little bit on the public holidays features on our software, and also the departments of Labor Malaysia sick leave compliance. And the second one will be the custom reports, which I will be emphasizing more on the pay elements custom reports. All right, next. Okay, so when talking about the Malaysia localizations, like Pesha mentioned just now, so our software started in Singapore 20 years back, and then we expand to Southeast Asia, and we do a localizations for most of the country in Southeast Asia. So for Malaysia localization wise, right, when we talk about public holiday setup, right? So yeah, for example, if your companies, right, is only manage your own office in just one state, right, when setting up public holidays, it will be like an easy thing. But when come into your the setting that involve like multiple states in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, I think it's a little bit quite complicated because of the different state will have their own public holiday, right? So the HR feel so headache, like how to manage this, like for example, federal days, like for example, Thaipusam is only like selected state holiday. So next, please. Introducing our just login state public holiday management. So with these features, right, we have a default set of all government announced public holiday, inclusive all the state holidays in to be published in our software. But then, right, the holiday and also the leave arrangements, right, will be following the employee work state. So in our employee profiles, right, then like there's a section for you to input like where this employee works. For example, if this employee works in Penang, right, so he will be following the Penang state holidays. Of course, there are two types, right? There's a state holidays and also national holidays. So the national holiday will be applicable for all the employees, while the state one is only for the state, for the employee who work on the state. Okay, next click, please. Okay, so for this screenshots, right, probably a little bit blurred, but just to show you that in our system, we are catering for like all the government announced public holidays, like Hari Thaipusam, Tahun Baru Cina, Hari Kedua, and so on. Right? We have the date there. Although that we already fixed it as a default set, but it's all open and customizable. If let's say your company that you want to rearrange the date, or you want to change the date to some other date, right, it's all customizable. So it's the system allow you to change the date and also allow you to create a custom holiday. For example, your company, you have like a company anniversary holidays and so on. You can also create it for your company. So it's up. So you see on the type columns, right, it will split into like a state and a country. Then you can create the state holiday as well. So the drop down on the top there, you can see the country Malaysia, and you can select the state like Johor, Penang, and so on. Then every year, all these public holiday will be published automatically to the system, so that the HR of the company don't need to go in and then to edit manually. So this is a part of localizations for this. Next, please. Yeah, so this is the place that I mentioned just now. So you when you add a new employee to the software, right, then you will need to configure that where is this employee work. So you can, when you select Malaysia, there will be a state field for you to select whether this employee work in Johor if you have multiple offices in across Malaysia states. All right, so the other another localizations that we have, right, is the sick leave and hospitalization compliance. So we, like what Prasha shared just now, we work very close with the governments, and also we did follow up the government changes every year and every year. So we sick leave and hospitalization leave, right, is one of the mandatory leave type, the mandated leave type for across all the companies, all the according to the law. So this one we have already put it in place, that which comply to the Department of Labor Malaysia, and the entitlement is based on the year of service for this employee. Like the screenshot that I share in this slide, you can view like how many years of service and then how many days of entitlement for the sick leave and also hospitalization leave. So this one is localized for the Malaysia software. All right, so the next one will be the custom report. Right, so for this custom reports, right, every of our, like Pesha mentioned just now, we have all the modules, all the HR module, like the leave, expenses, and then we have payroll, we have some other time clock, the attendance modules, and so on. So every module, we have our standard reports within the module itself. While for this custom report features, right, that we develop, it allows user to customize the report to the report that they want to see. So if we have a standard set of reports, right, in this, that you can download whichever report that you want, while you can also define the column, like you see the animations here, right? So you can drag in any fields that you want, and then you generate the report afterwards. So for example, job title, year of service, and so on. And sorry, I can't go back. So after you select all the fields that you want, right, then you can preview the report on screen instead of like every time, say you go to some other software, right, then after you generate the report, then you required to download the files. So you couldn't like view it in like maybe in a mobile or what, then yeah, so our software here allows you to view all the reports on screen reports, so before you do a download. And also we have a strong things with the strong points that I want to emphasize here is the filtering features and also the join module data. So with this custom report modules, right, then it allows you to generate the report across the module. So for example, you have some information that you want to retrieve from payroll, some information that you want to retrieve from employees module, and some information that you want to retrieve from leave or expenses module. Then you can do it everything's here, because we have a like the different sections like payroll details, we have time clock, attendance, and then we have expenses. Everything is here, so that we it's all joint module data. And also for the filtering wise, right, if you generate the standard reports from the module itself, you will not be able to filter. It will export everything say in a file. Well, from here, custom report is allow you to filter, like for example, I want to filter whoever that work in Penang. I want to filter whoever that is drawing the pay more than 3,000 a month, so that this one allow you to do a filtering before you generate the report. And this is very safe for it's open for the user of the system, and it's an access level control. What does it mean by access level control? So which means like for payroll information is all like more sensitive, and it's only accessible by the HR, the payroll HR. So this one will not be able to seen by those user that has no access right to it. so that this one is all safe, like whichever information they are not supposed to see, right, they will not be able to generate the report respectively. Okay, next. All right, so for this custom reports, right, I would like to emphasize this pay elements custom report. So what is pay elements, right? This is what we newly launched recently, is that we allows the customers to generate the reports, the custom report with the pay elements. So the pay elements, right, is the itemized pay slip. I believe that nowadays most of the company and also most of the employee and as well as the government is also pushing for this, right, to itemize the pay slip. So all the elements, right, is whatever that you see, the breakdowns in the pay slip, like on the screenshot on the right, on this slide. Yeah, it's a sample of the pay slip. Then you can see all the basic pays, like the meal allowance, employee EPF, SOCSO, EIS, and so on. So all these are the pay elements. So for use cases like if let's say I want to see what the contribution of the EPF of the months of the employee, so I can come to this custom report, I can generate it, and then I want to see like whoever is whoever is paying like how above how much, I want to see all their names and so on. So everything can be filtered and can be generated here in the custom report module. Okay, next please. Right, so this is a custom report pay elements like customizable payroll reports that I mentioned to you just now. So you can see like all the fields that you create, because pay elements is self-configurables in the system. So whichever that you have a new pay elements for your own companies, right? For example, like ABC pay elements, DF, whatever set pay elements that you have in your companies, you can put it in, and then it will be available here in the pay elements for you to do generate the reports. Okay, next please. Yeah, so this is a sample of the filtering of the report generation. Whichever fields that you put in the columns, right? Like just now you see the animation, it pull to the report, right? Then you will be able to report, and in the you'll be able to filter. So in this filtering tabs, right, you will be able to see set more conditions, like whether all employee met all the conditions that you set, or some employee only that met certain of conditions, so that it will filter accordingly. Also, right, you see you can also sort the reports, right, based on the rows that you set at the bottom of the settings of this report generations. Okay, next. All right, so this is a sample of like how you can view your pay elements reports on the screen. So you can see that after you select all the fields that you want to see, and then you click generate the report, then it run the report, then it will display on the screen first, then you can view like on the screen or on the mobile screen. Then if you decide to export it to keep it as your like a recording purpose, then you can go to export at the bottom, or you can rerun the report after you set up any others conditions. All right, so that's about my sharing for today for the features. So if you have any questions, welcome to put it in the Q&A section. So then we will, myself and also my colleagues and Patricia will be help to answer the questions that you have.
Okay, thank you everybody. So we just want to share something with you guys today. So you can sign up with us today. Okay, so and you will be entitled for 3 months free trial. Or if you just want to check, you just want to talk to our team, okay, you can actually book a meeting with our team, and then we will actually just you'll be entitled for the free account setup and training that's worth up to 1,500 ringgit. So we're actually opening up this special promo just for the participants that have joined us today, and it's valid for the next 2 weeks. All you have to do is just book a meeting. It doesn't matter, you can come back to us maybe after 2 weeks, and then you want to sign up at that time. But then all you have to do is just have a chat with us, and let us help you with your payroll and see how we can help you to make sure that there's no fines or anything in your payroll processes. Okay, that's all. So what we'll be doing is we'll be running 2 different polls today. So all you have to do is just answer the poll. So the first one will be, would you be interested to turn on our custom reporting feature? Okay, so if you are interested to look at our custom reporting feature and you're interested to just look how it works, okay, just click yes, and our team from backend will actually turn on this particular feature for you. So this is actually for our existing clients in the call, so that you can actually look at this feature and see if it suits your needs and if it's applicable for you. All right. And then the second poll that we will be running will be if you are interested to know more about our Malaysian payroll. All right. So if you're interested to know more about our Malaysian payroll, just click yes, and we will have a consultant that will reach out to you, and then they will would like to know, just have a chat with you to know about how you're processing your payroll. No obligation, nothing. Okay. If you're interested to know more, then you can actually just take yes. Okay, all right. So we have come to an end of our session. Okay, so just to keep everybody updated, we actually conduct webinar on a regular basis. So we have been doing this since phase 1, which in Malaysia we call it MCO 1.0, right? Okay, so we have been doing that with different partners and different topics on a monthly, some webinars on 2 weekly basis. Okay, so all you have to do is you can just log into this particular link, and you can just watch all our pre-recorded webinars, and then you can just if there's anything that you want to know, or any from this webinar, if you want to have a chat with us because you're interested in certain things, then you can reach out to us. Okay. All right, so we have a QR code here. You can actually schedule a quick virtual session with us. If you want to know more about our full HR suite, if you have missed our poll just now, okay, then you can just email it to us, email your questions to us, or you can even give us a call. And towards the end of our session, please complete our feedback form in order for you to receive a copy of the slides. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Patricia and Raymond, for that wonderful sharing session. So we do have another 5 minutes for any Q&A that the audience might have. If you do have any questions for our audience, please feel free to type it in the Q&A box, and then the speakers will be available to help answer any questions right now. So we'll just leave a few minutes to see if there's any questions. Okay. All right. So once again, if you've been entitled to that today's special offer that we are offering to all our attendees today, feel free to just book a free consultation session with us, and then you can just skim through any of our solutions from one of our consultants to have a free demo for you to see if our solutions were to suit you, and you'll be entitled for that special discount today, as well as 3 months free trial. We do have a question come in. Yes, okay, so I think it's a question for Patricia. Hui Xuan Lu is asking about HRDF.
Okay, so hi Xuan Liu. Okay, yes, definitely can. So what I would recommend is because HRDF is a vast information that you need to know. The only thing I can share with you now is that the government has given the 6-month HRDF levy that you can actually not pay anything for the moment. But if you want to know more in depth on how to pay, when to pay, how much to pay, then I would suggest you to just have a quick session with our consultant to go through the entire HRDF thing with you, so that then it will be easier for you to ask any question to our consultant. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Any more questions? Are there any more questions from the audience? If there are any questions that we are unable to answer now, feel free to, we can take it offline, and then you can be able to ask our consultants if there are more in-depth technical questions about our system software and whatnot. All right, so thank you everyone. I guess the session will end here. And once again, we please take care and adhere to SOPs to continue to flatten the curve of COVID-19. Take care and hope to see you again. Thank you.